Hey, welcome to another episode of DOCasts. In this episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing ClamAV, which is a Unix-based antivirus system. And I'll go ahead and just name the host name ClamAV here. We're going to select a size that is bigger than normal. And it's just because of the resources that ClamAV takes up when it's trying to run itself, so to run the antivirus application. So we'll choose 1 gigabyte, one CPU here with 30 gigabytes, and then we'll choose the San Francisco here with Ubuntu 14.04, and we'll go ahead and we'll just set a SSH key so I can go ahead and get into this right away. So we'll create the droplet, and I'll pause this video while DigitalOcean is going ahead and creating that. Alright, so now that our ClamAV droplet has been created, let's take this IP address here. Then we'll jump into our terminal application, and we'll go ahead and we'll SSH into the root for that IP address. And we'll go ahead and we'll accept the new host here. And alright, so now we're in as root here. I do recommend going through the initial server setup if you haven't already, and logging in as a user rather than root. But we'll go ahead and we'll continue as root here just for the sake of this episode. So we'll go ahead and clear this out. And what we're going to do is we're going to sudo apt-get update our Ubuntu droplet. That way we can make sure that we have the latest packages. And this is one of the best ways to make sure that your Ubuntu droplet is secured, is getting and making sure that you have the latest releases for all the packages on your operating system. Okay, cool. So now that that has been installed, we want to sudo apt-get install ClamAV. Alright, we'll click on Y and then we'll press enter. That just accepts the fact that it will be installed with that amount of storage needed. Okay, now that we have ClamAV installed, let's go ahead and get the ClamAV daemon installed. So we'll do that using sudo apt-get. We'll get that installed. Alright, now if I scroll back to take a look at the logs that are here, we'll see that ClamAV started the virus database updater known as FreshClam, and that was started okay. And what we need to do here now is, in order to run the ClamAV daemon, we need to retrieve the new virus definitions, and you can do that using sudo freshclam. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the process to make sure that it's running. So what we'll do is we'll get the processes, and we'll get all of them, and we'll pipe them through. Oops, see, that's what happens when you don't pipe them through. You get all of the processes, but we'll go ahead and get all of the processes and pipe them through the grep command looking for ClamAV. And you'll see that right here we have ClamAV, and it is running FreshClam. It's currently quiet right now, so it's not doing anything. And what we want it to do is we want it to do something. So we'll run FreshClam, and it's saying that, okay, the update process was started. Your ClamAV installation is outdated. Currently we're running 0.98.1, and there is a 0.4 version that's recommended, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to work through with the version that we have. In order to get the new one installed, what's recommended is you uninstall the current one that we have here and use apt-get update again on Ubuntu to make sure that we do have the latest packages, and then using the sudo apt-get install ClamAV once again to install the latest one. But we're going to work with what we have. If you're curious to know more, go to this URL right here with the frequently asked questions. And currently we have the main.cvd is up to date. We have this number of signatures, and then we have the daily CVD up to date as well, and the bytecode CVD updated. So what we can do now is we can run sudo service ClamAV daemon, and we can start that baby up. So it's going to start it. We should see an OK on the right hand side, and we do. So it started OK. So the first thing we can do now is I'll go ahead and clear my screen. Now I'll go ahead and I'll run a virus scan on a directory. So let's go ahead and see what's available here. I'll get out of my root home directory here, take a look at what's here. Now let's say that we want to take a look at the var files. So I'll change directory into var, take a look at what's there, change directory into local, and you can do this on any of them. So actually, I'll just go out twice, and we'll run it on the var directory. Okay, so I'll clear this up. We're going to run the virus scan on the var directory. And we'll do that using clamscan, and we'll do it recursively for the directory var. Alright, and now the scan is done. You'll see that we have the scan summary here with known viruses, and then we have the engine version that it's using, the scan directories, scanned files, infected files, the data that's been scanned, so the amount of data here, and the data read. Then we have the time it took. So it took 45 seconds to run a scan on 3,033 files, 210 directories. And if we just scroll up, we can go ahead and we can see all the information here. You'll notice that at the end of the lines, you'll see OK, and that basically means that the file is OK and there was nothing malicious found. So you can go ahead and run that manually on any of the files or directories that you have. This was just an example. Now keep in mind, the ClamAV daemon goes ahead and it runs every 24 hours, so on a daily basis, a scan of its own. Okay, so let's clear out this window here. I did mention that ClamAV does run on its own with the ClamAV daemon, or daemon. And what that is, again, we install that using sudo apt-get install ClamAV daemon. We can take a look at the help if we just go ahead and put clamd --help, and it'll bring up the help information. You can also do the same thing with freshclam here, which freshclam, as I said before, updates the virus definition. So you can do the --help or just -h, and it'll bring up the help for that. And you can see right over daemon notification, we have the daemon right here, which will run in daemon mode, which will automatically update itself, update the virus definitions itself if we just run the -d after it. So what we'll do is we'll run freshclam -d, and we'll just press enter, and that will put it in the daemon mode. And if we take a look at the processes again, and we'll pipe that through the grep command to find the ClamAVs. Alright, so we can see that we got the user over here, ClamAV, and we got the freshclam -d here. Oops, looks like we got two running here, and I'll make sure I close out one of those before I boot down my server. But we also have the freshclam that's running in quiet mode. Alright, so that's running itself, I can remove this because the clam daemon went ahead and has that running on its own. So we'll use the kill command to go ahead and kill those processes. And we'll use kill, and we'll send a signal to a terminal application with 15. We'll use the numbers right here next to the user. So boom, it kills the process. So if we take a look at the process again, you'll notice that, hey, one of the processes is gone. We'll do the same thing for 3022, and we'll go ahead and we'll move 30022, and then we'll take a look. Alright, now we just have those two running here, and we should be good to go. So let me clear out this window here. Now if you're ever curious about the kill command, you can go ahead and use man kill, and it'll bring up the documentation for the kill command. So that's pretty much it for installing Clam Antivirus, and you can run scans using the clam scan command. You can do it recursively on directories or directly to a file if you wish to. If you ever need help, go ahead and put in clam scan -help, and it'll bring up the attributes that you can go ahead and apply to the clam scan command here. And if you would like to see if it is installed and what version you're at, you can go ahead and put clamd --version, and it'll give you the version of ClamAV here. If you're ever curious where the configuration files are, if you would like to configure ClamAV differently, you can take yourself out of this directory here and go into your etc directory, change directory into the ClamAV, so that's cd ClamAV, and then we'll use ls, and you can see ls-1 that the ClamD config files are here. You can use Vim to open that up and take a look at the configuration files here. All right. If you're curious about where the log files are, we can get out of the etc directory and move into our var log. So we'll change directory into var log, and we'll take a look at the change directory ClamAV ls1, and we have the fresh clam and the ClamAV logs. If you ever have difficulty starting one of the processes for ClamAV, I recommend taking a look at this ClamAV log, and you can just take a look at the tail end of the ClamAV log by using the tail command, and it'll give you the last couple of lines just to see if something went wrong. So let's say that you started up the smallest droplet you could. You might see in this file that the droplet was unable to allocate memory for the ClamAV processes. So that's the reason why we used the configuration that we did with the 1 GB of RAM and the 1 CPU here, is because if you try to use the smaller one, it'll run that error and you won't actually be able to start up the ClamAV daemon. Okay, so that's it for the ClamAV application. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and leave your feedback as a DOCast member in the feedback area. So I look forward to future episodes with you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much.